Hey, what's going on, guys? Got some requests to kind of share my opinion on the whole AngryJoe subscriber warfare thing, so today I'm going to chime in on it, as well as kind of share my opinions on how I feel about community management and how to deal with it on YouTube as a whole. So if you don't follow AngryJoe, let me go ahead and recap the situation for you. He is a creator most known for his series called Angry Reviews. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Joe in this particular format. I just love his reviews and I watch pretty much every single one of them. After about 9 years and 142 episodes, Joe has decided he wants to take a short, 2-month break from Angry Reviews. He made a small video on the subject, kind of claiming that he was burnt out and it was time for some vacation. What resulted from this was, I gotta say, one of the biggest internet blowups I've ever seen within a community on YouTube. A huge amount of his viewers, and I'm talking a literal shit ton, mass downvoted this video along with some of his uploads thereafter. They insulted him, they slandered him with all manner of disturbing and disgusting messages, and they condemned his channel by spreading hate. Many of them ended up unsubscribing, leaving nasty messages like, "You fat lazy fuck you," or "You ungrateful piece of shit, give me my angry reviews, all of your other content fucking sucks." I'm gonna get to these people a little bit later, but let's go ahead and continue. The comment section in his videos during this time were, and are, pretty cancerous. Awful places of hate speech, fighting, and just an overall debasement of humanity. It was as if these people weren't even human. Yelling and screaming and fighting like fucking animals. Every single upvoted hate-filled comment was a place of war, and the entire situation became infectious, a never-ending disease that kept growing. As a creator, I can tell you firsthand that comment sections on YouTube can be a very nerve-wracking environment. I would hope that most creators, most sane creators, want people to get along, enjoy their content, and have some actual conversations that are stimulating, ones that involve respect, critique that is constructive, and above all else, brain cells. The fallout that ensued in this war against AngryJoe instigated him to do something I would never advise anyone to do if you're a content creator, to retaliate against them and join in on the fighting. This was stage 1 for Joe. He went on to argue and kind of roll around in the mud per se with the haters. He began to fight back by pushing back against the worst of the worst comment chains. Some people might think this is a good way of going about things, to defend themselves, but in reality, the fight is never worth it. In its purest form, he was feeding the trolls. This resulted in even more hate, and as we all know, when a troll gets fed, he only gets hungrier. So after much bickering back and forth and many tweets trying to justify his hiatus from Angry Reviews, Joe finally snapped. He announced and disabled his comment sections during his vacation. To this day, his comments are still disabled. So that's the story with AngryJoe, and now I kind of want to chime in on how I feel Joe maybe misplayed the situation a little bit. Just for the record though, I do love Joe. I've been watching all of his reviews for like, I don't know, 8 fucking years now. But I do feel he played a big role in how all of this shit went down. The first mistake Joe made is the way he announced his vacation in this particular video. If you actually watch it carefully, you notice that he has a very, very defensive tone, and you can tell he knows that this video is going to piss a bunch of people off. It comes across in the end as justifying, and that is one of the things you do not want to do as a creator. Joe doesn't need to justify himself to anyone, or his vacation, or how this video is likely going to upset many people. He should have either not announced it at all, or simply stated, "I'm going to take a vacation, we'll be back in full force in September," confidently and assuming no ill intent. This wasn't the first time he had been defensive about the situation either. It had been going on for months and months, after he was called out for failing to honor a prior schedule set by Joe himself months beforehand. Ever since that video, the schedule video, Joe kind of took on this bad guy mentality in the eyes of his haters by quarreling with them and shelling out tweets and replies that would generalize his audience. Fighting back and trying to gain justification as a creator never works. Half of your audience will see you as the good guy and half of them will see you as the bad guy. You'll likely get into the situation where you'll win over your true fans when they see you beating the truth into the haters and they'll love you for it, but you'll piss off just as many people on the other side. I think the best YouTubers, or at least the YouTubers I have the most respect for, let their work and character speak for itself. Joe is an amazing personality and a very fun, loving guy, I've been told. But that image gets twisted when he is seen throwing blows with people that honestly should mean nothing to him. If you really think about it, when Joe kind of tries to justify his actions in this regard and argue with the naysayers, he's fighting a losing battle. These haters have pretty much manufactured this kind of illusionary duress over the entire situation. They're sick in the head. And if you're one of them that has personally attacked Joe in any regard, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. But it's Joe's fault for giving you the time of day. But the worst part of joining in on the argumentation train is that it pulls your loyal fans into hate wars with attackers and creates a hostile environment. Good people being dragged into arbitrary fights at the hands of sick-minded people, pulling them down into the ditch with them. I would not want that for my fans of my channel, but when Joe advertises his disgust at the situation, it drags many of them along for that ride with him. I believe the best way to stop hate is to ignore it and censor it when you can by utilizing the ban system on YouTube. Joe just forgot that. It takes like 2 seconds to ban a user on YouTube, and the beauty of it is that it's a ghost ban. They don't know that they're being banned, so they will continue to comment on videos, which drives up that engagement ratio and revenue per video, all the while having no idea that no one will see what they wrote. If Joe had done that, I think his image would have been stronger, a guy that is confident enough not to let the crappy people of the world break him down. It's a win-win for Joe and his audience. Part of being a content creator on YouTube is being a responsible community manager and making sure your audience has the best experience possible and view of you. You can do that by banning people, and more importantly by showing yourself in the best possible light. I think a lot of people really respect when content creators don't cheapen themselves by engaging in mob-style arguing with people who, in the grand scheme of things, should mean nothing to them. Haters are never going to go away, therefore it's imperative that a creator not ever acknowledge them. If something in life is unavoidable, the best course of action is to put as much distance from it and yourself as possible. But we still have to consider if these people have any legitimacy to their claims for angry reviews. Do viewers get to dictate the kinds of content they receive? The answer to that is kind of yes and definitely no. We know YouTube is a free service, so on one hand, people definitely have no say in anything that is offered by a creator. But try to step inside the shoes of a viewer for a second, something that is easily forgotten. And yeah, I'm talking about those lunatic viewers that are bastardizing Joe. In the eyes and the mind of those viewers, they subscribe to a YouTube channel with the expectation that the creator has set with the content he or she has provided them. If AngryJoe puts out 50 angry reviews and someone subscribes to his channel, it sets the expectation for angry reviews. They will want more of it in the future, and when they don't get it, they feel like their promises have been unfulfilled. Yeah, it's kind of a twisted way to look at it, but it's the truth for these people. In Joe's case, this was compounded when he set schedules, multiple times by the way, to try to meet that expectation. Failing to make do on those promises put him on thin ice with a lot of people and constrained him to some extent. Tensions rose, he began fighting with his haters, and he pled for validation to himself and to his fans. And once that fateful vacation video hit, all of that came to a head and the war started. In my eyes, I think that Joe should never have jumped into the deep end with his audience to seek acceptance for his work. Don't make statements like, people think my other content is lazy, because that makes people believe that it is lazy. Don't fight with your audience because they'll want to keep fighting with you. And don't let people see you as the bad guy because you're not. You're a great creator and one of my favorites. You don't need the validation from your audience to know that. Part of being a good community leader is knowing that you'll never please everyone. I think it's the most important thing, just to be yourself. Put out the work that makes you happy and engage in conversations with good-minded people. That's all we need to do as creators. Just let the bad people of the world be bad. No need to fight with them because that's exactly what they want. Love you, Joe. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Just don't get so wrapped up into it all the time. And if you do happen to love me, subscribe to DWT and consider checking out my Patreon if you'd like to support the work I do on this channel. As always, guys, have a kick-ass, super-duper fucking awesome day, and we'll see you in our next video.